Basically what we've been talking about here is, bundlers are raising big money for the 2013 mayoral candidates already. We're 2 years out, and intermediaries in New York City have put together more than $4 million for Scott Stringer, Christine Quinn, Bill de Blasio, and John Liu. Now, a big portion of those people are folks who are doing business with the city, registered as doing business with the city, either as lobbyists or have other interests before city government. And these people have raised a substantial sum of money for candidates as well. And you guys have talked about proposals that would limit their ability to receive matching funds through the through the city's public finance program. Can you tell us about that proposal?
The reliance on bundlers who do business with the city is very disappointing to civic groups. We'd hoped that the law is really a politician's liberation law. You get a 6-to-1 match for the if you raise $175 from a human being who lives in the city. So the law puts a bounty on getting real people and modest-sized contributions to fund them. Instead, what we've seen is that despite efforts by the city to limit contributions from people who do business with the city, which include lobbyists, and reduce the influence peddling of lobbyists, money's like water, and they figure out a way around this, and it's very disappointing. And I think the way it'll play out in the elections is that it'll be raised as an issue during the campaign, and we'll see how much the voting public cares about it. But we care about it a lot, because if you're spending so much of the public funds to help people run for office, you're helping people of modest means get into political life. And to see that opportunity squandered really is very disappointing.
Do you get the sense that more people are re-examining the role that intermediaries are playing in the public process, given the recent scandal with fundraising scandal with Comptroller John Liu?
Yes, the whole point of the law was to try and create more disclosure about what the candidates were actually doing and their campaigns in terms of raising money. So I think it will increase awareness of it, and the fact that this is the sort of the newest wrinkle in the process of trying to get around the law in many ways will make it very apparent to the public. I don't know if any candidate is going to champion themselves as like the anti-bundler candidate, so I don't know how much choice there'll be for the public. But I think the fundraising practices of the candidates will be an issue. And we have a really excellent agency in the New York City Campaign Finance Board. They have a really great database. It's really possible for journalists and the public to learn in pretty great detail where and how they're getting their money. And my message to the candidates is, try and get the money from real human beings in small amounts, because that way you can resist charges of influence peddling and being affected by who's giving you money.
So what do you think a lobbyist who lobbies the city, or a person who does business with the city, how do you think they would react or respond to the proposal to limit their matching funds for money that they help raise?
Well, when we first raised this in 2006, there was divided opinion in the lobbyist community. Many of the lobbyists don't like getting hit up for contributions. I know we're talking about influence peddling, but some of it is just like they get asked, and it's just it's pay to play. It's hard to say no when you've been asked by an elected official to help in their next campaign. And so for many of those candidates, they were like, great, sign me up. Others, felt that the restrictions on lobbyists directly themselves. A lobbyist is someone who's doing business with the city and can't give more than $400 when the contribution is like contribution limit is like $4,900 for mayor. So there is a serious restriction on them directly giving, and even their families giving. So they said, some lobbyists said, well, that's enough. You've restricted us enough. But when you look at the filings and you see that the lobbyists and others doing business have bundled 10, 15, 20, 25,000, 30,000, those contributions were supposed to be a thing of the past. And they may argue, well, it's, we're just putting together a whole bunch of small contributions. But I don't know if that passes the laugh test.
Now, why do you think it is more problematic that people with interests before the city are, raising such substantial sums of money for people who will likely be for candidates who will likely be the next mayor of New York City?
Well, the first issue is appearance. You know, I think to the public, it doesn't look very good. Somebody wants approval for their new housing development or their skyscraper, and they need to get it from an elected official, and they're also giving that elected official, you know, tens of thousands of dollars. It just doesn't sit well. And it has the potential for corruption. I'm not saying that anyone's done hanky-panky, but you know, it doesn't look good, and it's risky.
And why do you think the council has been so reluctant to sort of take up this proposal?
Well, you know, it's a little hard to speculate. You know, they're obviously, the central staff of the council doesn't cotton to the idea, and maybe they don't want to upset the candidates. We're close to election season, and any of these reforms will affect candidates in different ways, to their advantage or their detriment. And so that comes into play, not just whether it's a good idea or a practical idea, but whether it's going to affect candidate X or candidate Y. And it's a partisan atmosphere.
You know, and what would be the ultimate outcome of, you know, limiting the matching funds for bundlers who do business with the city?
Well, you know, the main thing we do, it would reduce their influence. I mean, if you get like 10 people to make a contribution of $175 each, then that's matched 6-to-1 rate. You're already, you're raising, close to $10,000. So it magnifies your voice. As someone who is trying to influence city government's decisions, you now can do more than just give $400. You can get other people to give money, which then gets matched by the city treasury, and your influence is multiplied. I mean, that's why we have the doing business rules in the first place, because the decision was made by the mayor and by the council that it didn't look good to have a lobbyist give $4,950, which is the maximum. So if that doesn't look good, why does it look good that they can bundle tens of thousands of dollars of contributions? I don't think it is good.